2 great hospitals, 1 incredible health system.
And back here at halftime, the Wildcats lead it by a score of 28-24. We will get to our first half scoring summary. First, we want to talk to Commissioner Steven Martin. Good to see you at Marvin R. White tonight.
Good seeing you.
So a guy who's no stranger to basketball. I know a little bit about you. I've always done my homework in Georgetown. And I thought about you sincerely the other day when they did the special on the pregame show for NCAA the other day on Coach Chaney and on Coach Thompson. Did you get a chance to see that?
Yes, I did. I got to tell you, he was a very unique individual. You know, a mentor of mine, someone that I've always looked up to, and I was always in contact with him. So when he passed, obviously that was a huge, huge thing to me. But always had huge respect for Coach Thompson.
Well, Commissioner Martin, I'll say this: what a challenging year and a half, almost 2 years, I guess, this fall for you. A lot of things, rebranding the conference. Changing the format and a lot of things, and then having to deal with COVID. What's it been like for you?
I have to tell you, every day was different.
Yes.
It's been a challenge because we had to put in a lot of protocols because of COVID, and we just had a lot that we had to do and then eventually overcome. But I have to tell you, I give a lot of credit to a lot of folks, starting with, and people don't realize this, our athletic trainers. Because they were providing me, and they still do provide me information on a daily basis.
Right.
Okay, because we review all the daily screenings and things like that. The athletic trainers, when we did have COVID issues, they reacted and they were proactive, and they got on top of it. So I give a lot of credit first to our athletic trainers because the health and safety was always the number one priority. And then, look, throughout last year, this year, I was on the phone with athletic directors. We had so many Zoom calls, we got zoomed out of it. But we had to do it because we needed to be proactive, especially we played football in the fall, so so we were talking. We did Zoom calls at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. So I give them a lot of credit for the hard work that they put in. Coaches have been extremely cooperative, okay? And then at the end of the day, the presidents, they gave us a lot of leeway, a lot of flexibility to make sure that, that we did the things that we needed to do. So, so we were sending recommendations to the presidents probably on a weekly basis, okay? But they took the time, they reviewed them. When they needed to vote or approve recommendations, they did. They didn't delay or anything like that. So, so from every element, we've had good input in people, like I say, coaches, athletic trainers, presidents, all been involved in the process, and it's just worked out extremely well. So it's been a challenge, but if we didn't have the support across the board, it could have been even a tougher challenge for us.
Well, Mr. Commissioner, I want to commend you and those folks you mentioned. The fact that Mississippi was able to have a football season in community college when the rest of the nation didn't, that's a huge star by what y'all accomplished, with that. And then now, of course, a lot of things got pushed back into the spring. I know it's a nightmare for the SIDs and the guys like Patrick Oakes and Mark Franklin and others across the conference, but, bundling the sports up. But the great thing is you've given these student athletes a chance after what happened last spring with baseball and our great basketball team that couldn't go play for a national championship. After all that, looking at where we are today, y'all are to be commended for that. And you mentioned all those folks, but for you personally, what's been the most satisfying thing that you've looked at from being the commissioner that you say, hey, I'm so glad this happened?
Well, just as you said, we laid the foundation for, for the conference to be able to participate in athletics. It's all about the young people. It's all about our student athletes. And for us to work cooperative with each other, like I say, from the top all the way through, it's been extremely satisfying, but at the same time, very stressful that we've been able to put on the seasons that we've been able to put on, and to see the games, and as you said, to see student athletes participate and have fun, and that's what it's all about. So to see that happen from where we were months ago, thinking that we may not even have seasons, They're now seeing seasons, coming to the conclusion of the basketball season. We're about to have the tennis tournament, the golf tournament, then obviously baseball and softball. So a lot of hard work, but I've been extremely pleased that we've gotten to the point that we've gotten to.
Yeah, I was talking to athletic director Scotty Fletcher, who's also our basketball coach here a couple weeks ago about this, and on the air about the fact that I say we, the conference, talking about what you've done in the individual schools, adding all these extra things. You've got bass teams, the bass fishing teams, you've got rodeo now, you know. You look at all the different things that are starting to come about, man. Great opportunity for those student athletes to go and play for a year or two and then move on to a four-year school.
Exactly.
It wasn't that way many years ago. It was football, basketball, and baseball, and a little softball, and that was about it. But now there's such a variety for them to do.
Right. And I tell you, we have 3 volleyball teams now.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's a sport that we're looking to expand. So we are seeing more opportunities, better opportunities for both men's and women's, or young ladies, young guys to participate in athletics. But more important, it gives them the opportunity to start at a community college and then find opportunities potentially at a 4-year school. And I tell you, it's been amazing to me to see how many student athletes we have in this conference that do move on to 4-year schools. I mean, the numbers are incredible. People always think in terms of football, but when you look at our kids who are playing baseball and softball and obviously basketball, we have a large number of kids that are moving on to 4-year schools.
Well, let's talk about you. A Purple Knight graduate out of New Orleans, a guy we mentioned Georgetown, a guy that played some professional basketball, but a family of 8. Talk about growing up in New Orleans, and you here tonight, of course, Delgado in the gym, but just the opportunities that you were afforded and where you are today. Just kind of talk about that.
Well, it's interesting when you think about athletics and put it in perspective. So when I was growing up, and as you mentioned, I was the youngest of 8.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine that we didn't have a whole lot. Okay, I did not get to visit outside or leave New Orleans or leave Louisiana until I went on a recruiting trip. Okay, and that was because of athletics. And it's so interesting because I was telling my wife, the coach of Delgado, Coach Fields.
Yep.
When he was at Oklahoma was my first recruiting trip.
Oh, wow.
And he actually took me around campus.
Oh, of course, he was a Globetrotter. He went on and played the Globetrotter.
He went on and played with the Globetrotter.
Yeah.
So, athletics gave me an opportunity to get my education. Believe it or not, I actually have an accounting degree, and I worked in accounting for a number of years before I moved into sports. And then, I moved into athletics from an administrative standpoint, and that afforded me the opportunity to travel the world when I worked with the NBA. So things I know I would never have been able to do, it's all because of athletics. And so I've been very blessed, grateful that, that I moved into the field of athletics. But it really opened a lot of doors for me as I grew up, leaving New Orleans and living in New York, traveling to Africa, traveling to Europe, but all because of athletics.
Well, Commissioner, we appreciate you stopping by. So glad to have you here tonight at Marvin R. White Coliseum. Thank you for all the great things you're doing with the conference. We look forward to the playoffs, hopefully continuing here for a couple of weeks. And maybe we'll get a chance to have a team come out of Mississippi this year to go and play for that national championship that we didn't get a chance for last year.
Well, I tell you, we have some very good teams, and I think we have the opportunity to do that both on the men's and women's side. Obviously, we have the Pearl River men's basketball team and Coach Oney, who's still nationally ranked. On the women's side, we have Jones, who's ranked number 1. So we're in pretty good position. So I'm looking forward to it.
Pearl River Community College invites all prospective students to come on board the river for the 2021 Wildcat Experience. Tuesday, April 20th, come to Poplarville's campus for a day of information and fun. We'll have faculty, staff, and students on hand to help you register for enrollment and answer any questions you may have about your freshman year at the river. Refreshments will be served and free tickets to our baseball game, soccer match, and the PRCC choir concert will be given out. Visit prcc.edu to register today.